actually copy the links. I don't know if we're live. We're probably not live yet. You know how I know? Because we didn't hear the... Oh, there it is, Lewis. That's how I know we're live. Lewis can't control himself. Yeah, come on. He's been waiting for that title to be used for years. Finally.
Yeah, that's...
And we're live, Lewis. Come on, Lewis. Enough with the letting loose. Let's be professional here.
Maybe that's all about them loosening their control of the App Store at the behest of the Eurocrats.
Yeah, I'm
that's
sure.
What it's all about. Let loose.
I'm sure that's what it means.
I don't think they want any more of that to happen, though. They would like things to get tighter again.
Yeah.
No.
They want to unloose. They want to unloose it. They want to restrict.
Complying with EU restrictions.
Yeah, I'm sure. Doesn't keep him up at night at all. He just sits there, just grumbling in his sleep, curling up his lip like Billy Idol.
Somebody just downloaded an app and I just lost 30 cents.
Oh, 30 cents? TC gets mad when he loses 0.00030 cents. That's where he's at. That's where his mind's at. 30 cents, man. All right, let's see here. I just tweeted out the tweet, Lewis.
Well, that's great news.
I'm going to just start calling it a tweet. I don't even... Because what else are you supposed to call it? You can't call it an X. It doesn't make any sense.
You X'd the X.
I X'd it out. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean, dude? All this name changing, all this branding name changing, it's just not working.
What kind of a guy do they have in charge over there?
I mean, he's a genius. And he's doing great work, but that was a bad call. Even geniuses can make bad calls. You know what we should do an off-topic someday. And Griffin can enumerate his reasons for animus towards Elon Musk. We'll just do a whole episode. It'll be like a therapeutic session for Griffin. What's wrong with Elon?
I don't know if 15 minutes is enough for that.
Come on. He's not. Oh, come on. We can go 30 if you want to go over.
The thing is, I used to be a Tesla fanboy, I would say.
Lots of people used to be.
I'm a convert.
Yeah, lots of people are converts. Ever since he bought Twitter. All of a sudden he's back.
Yeah, that whole free speech thing is just so terrible.
Hey, we don't know what Griffin's reasons. I'm not putting words in your mouth, Griffin. I would love to hear those reasons someday. But probably not now, because we got to get the show on the road, since I got to be walking these sweet, muscular buns right out the door in an hour and 20 minutes, Lewis.
Oh,
so we have
crap.
What?
I almost retweeted this from my personal account. Wouldn't that have been stupid?
Well, no one would have saw it.
1,100 people instantly informed.
You got 1,100? That's pretty good, man. My number hasn't changed in forever. In fact, it's slowly going down because I never tweet anymore. Like, I always promote my Twitter on this show. I never actually tweet anything. The only thing I ever tweet is plugs for this show. I gotta step up my game, man.
I wonder about that. Like, who listens to the end of a podcast and like listens? Oh, that's their Twitter handle. I'm going to go look them up and follow them. Like,
probably nobody
actually do that.
I mean, I've been doing it for so long. It might have been something that used to happen. I don't think it happens these days. But now it's just a habit. I should probably rethink the entire exit of the show and say something that's actually worthwhile instead of what I actually do say. But it's so ingrained in my...
more about our membership program that we actually recently launched.
Yeah, we should. I should definitely work that in instead. You're right. That's way better. Okay, well, look.
All right.
We got 17 people here, although I'm not even seeing anything load in the chat, so we'll see if those start showing up. But in the meantime, we got a lot of stuff to talk about and not a lot of time to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Oh, man, people are pinging me. I got to put this. I recently started using Do Not Disturb. Man, where was that all my life? So useful to not have
only
people...
started using it recently?
I only recently started using it. It was actually not even something I planned to start using. I started setting my phone in where I set a sleep schedule. So it will remind me like when to go to bed and when to wake up and stuff. And as part of that, it turns my phone and my watch into Do Not Disturb mode. And I was like, oh, this is great. Now, it also means that the alerts from my security cameras won't reach my phone. So I may wake up to a giant axe-wielding murderer in my room and not having known that he was there. But at least I'll have slept well up until that point.
If you go in
Allow-
settings, you can set certain apps as exceptions to break through that focus mode.
I almost don't want to do that though, because at least for my security apps, they often have false triggers. So like if an animal runs across my yard, it will ping my wrist, and it's like, dude, a squirrel ran across the yard. Great. Do I need to know that right now? It's like I don't. So then it disturbs my sleep. So it's like it's one or the other, you know. All right.
I can also do you one more really quick.
Sure.
You can go one step above if you also set a shortcut that activates the focus mode. So I have two shortcuts, one called Start CultCast, one called End CultCast. I run Start CultCast and it changes my computer background to black so I don't have reflections in my glasses. It turns on the focus mode. It hides all of the other apps. It opens Logic, Skype, and Chrome, and
Dang, look at you.
takes care of everything for it.
None of that stuff is possible in
That's
the Cult
advanced.
Commander. Yeah. Is that available in Windows 11?
Wow, there's your first mistake.
Hey, if OBS had a worthwhile app to use in Mac OS, I would probably use it. But like every time I use my Mac to live stream the show, it sounded like an Apache was taking off. Like the fans were screaming. The thing got up to like 140 degrees. Like the USB ports were fused to whatever was plugged in because the heat would melt the metal. I mean, it was that bad. It's terrible. Like the Cult Commander just sits over there. It just whispers the whole time. It's like, oh.
Have you tried it since you switched to Apple Silicon? Because that sounds very much like an Intel.
Yeah,
problem.
no, it's been forever. It's been forever. If I had a Mac Studio, it probably would be like zero issue. That was on a
if
MacBook
you
Pro.
had a Mac Studio.
Don't tempt me, Lewis. Don't tempt me. I don't.
They
need
still
to
make
buy,
those,
No, don't you
Yeah.
mean if you still had a Mac Studio?
Don't tell me to rebuy a Mac Studio. It's a weekly temptation. Oh man. Okay. You got me thinking about something about the camera I almost got this week, and then it didn't happen because of reasons that it's just gonna make me mad if I start talking about it. So let's go ahead and cue up Mrs. You Know Who. We got this thing going on, Mrs. D. Mrs. D. How are you doing? Oh, I'm just fine, my dear. Mrs. D, I haven't heard from LK in many moons. Like, have you seen him? Oh, yes, I see him regularly. Oh, really? What do you guys do? Oh, well, normally we get coffee or go on a walk or make love. She always just throw that last part in there. Like, we don't.
Every time.
Yeah, we don't need to know that, Mrs. D. You can just keep that stuff to yourself. Don't put that image in our minds. It's not an image
There's
that.
a little mystery.
That's right. What's wrong with mystery? Have a little mystery in your life. People like mystery. It's the whole point of Lost. They never actually solved a single mystery, and look how popular that show was. All right. Well, Mrs. D, if you don't mind, let's get this thing rolling because we got a whole lot of Apple stuff to talk about. In 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Eric von Lash. Join me today. Eyewitnesses say a man fitting his description was last seen with several missing Cult of Mac writers. But he says he was just giving them an innocent pep talk on how to reduce their spelling errors. There's no evidence of anything else. He's the managing editor of Cult of Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah. Yes.
No comment. Smart. Also with us, even the most die-hard Apple fans agree his love of those terrible little Apple puck mice that came with old Macs is bizarre and unwarranted. He's a writer for Cult of Mac. Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening. I have to ask Erfan, have you bought a camera?
Dude, you're just trying to bait me. You're just trying to... I feel like the Hulk resisting the urge to turn green. So I almost bought a used X106 because I saw one. So, okay, you're going to make me tell the story. I'll tell the story. So,
Instant tangent.
dude, so I've been waiting for this brand new camera to ship from B&H. And I don't know what they're doing over there, but they still have not shipped my order. I had placed the order within the first 90 seconds of when the pre-orders went live. So I'm like, I've got to be at the front of the line, right? Like, this is so bizarre. And I keep seeing all these reviews pop up on their site about people having received their cameras. And I'm like, how many cameras could have got in before me? There's no way. They must have skipped my order or something. But whenever I contact them, they're like, first come, first serve. That's all they'll say. They won't give me any information. And so I saw a used one pop up on their site. And if you would listen to a previous off-topic, CultCast off-topic that I did, I gave you all a strategy on how to get huge discounts on brand new technology, and which was a terrible mistake. I think probably someone used that advice to steal that camera out from underneath me. So I saw the camera available on their site for like 12% off because it had basically been returned to B&H and it was like in perfect condition. I was like, oh, so I went to go grab it. B&H is they're currently closed for holidays. So they have like a lot of, I think they're run by like Orthodox Jewish people, and they take a lot of holidays, like Jewish holidays off, and you just can't check out, which, I'm used to because they close every Friday night and they reopen on Saturday. But this is like Passover or something. I'm not sure which holiday it was. So they wouldn't let me check out. So I'm like, okay, I got to strategize here, right? So they have a banner at the top of their website that says our store is currently closed until May 1st or something like that for, I think it was Passover. So I was like, dude, May 1st, this thing's going to be sitting here and everyone's going to see it and we're all going to be competing once their order system reopens. So I got to be on my game. So I did a little snooping around and I realized like, oh, their retail store doesn't open until May 1st, but their online ordering system actually opens Wednesday at 6 p.m. my time, which is yesterday. So I'm like, immediately I got an edge because I know something that other people don't know. So I get everything lined up. I got this thing in my cart. I sign into my account, and 3 minutes before they're supposed to reactivate ordering again, I am sitting there at my computer refreshing the page, gleeful, because I'm like, I have this whole thing figured out. I'm going to nag this thing before anyone else does, right? So I'm refreshing. Finally, the grayed out checkout button turns green. I'm like, boom, here we go, baby. So immediately I launch into the checkout process, and I have all my information stored. And so I make it through the first checkout screen in 3 seconds, just confirm my address. I hit the next screen, and for some reason, for the first time since I have had a credit card stored with them, my stored credit card has suddenly disappeared from their system. And I'm like completely confused. I'm like, wait a second, where'd my stored credit card go? It's not here anymore. So I'm like fumbling with my wallet, trying to get it out, pull my credit card out. By the time I enter the information and click next, we're sorry, this item has been removed from your cart. I was like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. Jeez. That has literally never happened to me on their website ever. And no explanation. And so someone got it. And I guess my question is, like, if I take an item into the checkout process, why don't they lock it up for 5 minutes while I'm in checkout? Like, that's what a lot of retailers do. If you have something in your cart, you're checking out, they don't sell it to somebody else. It's locked for you so that it can't be taken from underneath you. And somebody nagged it, man. Somebody, probably a CultCast listener, whoever it is out there, if it's you, after I gave away the secrets, you stole my camera right out from underneath me. So now I'm back to square one. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I should call B&H and be like, dude, what the HE double hockey sticks is going on over there? When is my camera going to ship? This is unbelievable.
It's probably a 9 to 5 Mac happy hour listener.
Or somebody from 9 to 5 Mac. They were probably listening to the CultCast and trying to figure out how they can make their own podcast more entertaining.
I know what you're up to, Chance Miller.
And in the process,
else that sells this? Do you have to buy it from B&H?
I don't have to buy it from B&H, Lewis, but if you had listened to the episode, you would know it's the sales tax, because I got their company card, which pays my sales tax. So that would have been a massive deal on that camera. They were selling it, so it's a $1,600 camera. They were selling it for $1,420, no sales tax for me because I have their card. So I'm like, dude, this is a great deal. This is a killer deal and a camera that everyone wants. But say la vie. Oh my gosh, we gotta start off the show with this too. Boom! We got a big one from Hugo. We gotta figure this out. I gotta take a look. Hugo Last in with the 69, the 6969. Oh my! I can make a joke about that. Oh, wait a second.
69, dudes!
It's been too long since I pressed that, Lewis. Your favorite button on the mixer. Oh my goodness, thank you to Hugo Last. We got to do something nice for Hugo Last. Maybe replace Lewis with Hugo Last or something. I'm not sure, but we got to do something for him. He's forking it over big time.
That would be really, he would love that.
Well, we won't want to give him something that he actually would want, so that may not work. But my goodness, thank you. We got to look to see how much money Hugo Last is given directly to LK, and I gotta claw some of that money back. LK is gleeful over there. Look at that money just pouring right into his pocket. Thank you to Hugo Last. I'm sorry, I know this show's already like 10 minutes long, and we haven't even talked about what we're going to talk about. We are going to be talking about, of course, Apple's surprise May 7th event. I think we can confidently tell you almost everything that's going to be announced. I mean, they gave away a lot right in the invite, so we at least know of one thing that will be coming down the pipe. What else are we talking about here? We got some bad news about the iPad Air. If you've been looking to get that model, it seems like one of the big features that was supposed to ship may not. Griffin's going to be telling us about some iOS 18 AI features. Lewis is going to be talking about a big app that all of us have been waiting for, finally coming to the iPad. We've got some rumors about iPhone. Did I oversell that? We've got some rumors. Big rumors about iPhone 16. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the Apple Watch and why you might want to potentially buy the next one. I'm not sure how to sell this story, I'll be honest, but we'll do it anyway. Let's see here. Before we dive in, I want to just give a quick plug. I try not to do it on this show. We're saving it for CultCast Off Topic, but I will just mention it here. CultCast Off Topic, ad-free, free for all, thanks to listener support. A bunch of you have decided to fork it over, whether out of respect for us or out of fear that if I saw you on the street, I was going to know that you didn't. I will accept either reason, but if you decide out of fear or respect that you would like to fork over and help support the future of the show, support.thecultcast.com, support.thecultcast.com, or cultof9to5macrumors.com. We're currently in litigation with the websites whose names are mentioned in that URL. I'm very confident that we're going to win that thanks to my high-powered legal team, but use it while you can. If you have decided that you don't want to support us anymore, you can also go to unfork.thecultcast.com. I just bring that up because some people did not receive their emails or didn't find their emails on how to do that. And then with your very generous support, you get access to the Cult Club, at least for 10 to 20 seconds after the Cult Club randomly boots you out for some reason, which is a problem we've been having. And so if that's been you, just know that we are working on it. We have no idea what's going on, but we are trying to fix it. I've done a ton of research so far. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I kind of have a suspicion of what it might be, but we're working on it. So shout out to Brad Pepper. You get a free shout out, Brad, because Brad Pepper gets kicked out about 3 times a day. And God bless him, he rejoins about 3 times a day. He must not have a job because he spends all of his time rejoining the Cult Club. And I think we're going to start doing some more stuff in Cult Club. Maybe some live stuff, some real-time live stuff, just to have some more interaction stuff. What's that?
Juggling?
Do you know how to juggle?
No, I want to watch you juggle.
We can have you do chainsaws or torches or something. We should talk about that.
In the Cult Club, you can watch us try to learn how to juggle the most tedious live content imaginable.
Did I just do I just did the promo for you, didn't I, Griffin? Unbelievable. I just did it. Yeah, I can't believe I did that. That was Griffin's. He was going to do it mid-show, but God, I can't believe I did that. All right, well, let's move on for now. Let's talk about
tangents. Have tangents.
I can't believe it. I can't control myself. This is I'm like a blurter. I just blurt, I just say things. It must be Tourette's. I should probably get checked out. This is unbelievable. All right, first story. Surprise! Apple sets May 7th event to launch new iPad Pro and iPad Air. I don't know how many of you all have heard this story or saw the invite, but the event is May 7th. TC is personally calling it Let Loose. Should I bring this up? Did it work? Oh, thank goodness. Here it is, the Apple May 7th event. Look at that invite. For those of you listening, it's like a rainbow sketch of an apple with a hand. And what is that holding? Some kind of pointing device. It's a new Apple stylus of some kind. That thing that Steve Jobs said they'd never make. There it is. And it's going to make you rethink the stylus. So at least we know that we're getting an all-new... Well, I guess actually we don't know if we're getting an all-new Apple Pencil. They might just keep the old pencil. This just might be a person drawing with the old pencil on new iPads. I guess we actually don't know. But we do kind of know that this is going to be a event revolving around iPads, at least thanks to that beautiful invite. So here's what we know. I'm going to just start reading from the story here because there's a lot. Tuesday's official invitation doesn't use the word iPad, but there's an Apple Pencil on it. Yeah, we know. As Apple tablets are the only devices that support. Yes, okay, I'm reading this because I just said it. Many leaks point to a 2024 iPad Pro that will be the first with an OLED display, which of course is going to be a huge move forward for iPad. I think the displays already look beautiful, but OLED is just in a whole new category on its own. Hopefully, it's the new kind of OLED that they're putting in some Sony televisions, which use a different kind of backlight and filter that goes over the backlight that makes color saturation much better than regular OLEDs and the kinds that LG are still using. But time will tell on that. So that should be a huge improvement for display fidelity, color saturation, and contrast ratio especially. I'm a little curious to see how bright the screens will get because OLEDs are not known for getting really bright. But then I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, well, my Apple Watch gets really bright. And so does, and I have the Apple Watch Ultra first generation. And obviously the second generation, I think it's the 2000 nits, which is insanely bright. Like bright enough that you could see it easily even outdoors. So I'm going to guess that probably won't be a problem. Let's see here. Also supposedly coming soon is the first 12.9-inch iPad Air, which we've talked a lot about in the past. The previous largest version was the 10.9-inch. But so now we're going to have two iPad Air models, which will be cool. Both tablets are expected to use the M3 processor. Duh. Let's see here. The Apple or the stylus prominently, I can't believe we're using that word. The stylus prominently used in the invite has a second meaning too. This one more obvious. Multiple leaks indicate that a replacement for Apple Pencil 2 is imminent along with the new Apple models. I hope so because I think I may need an Apple Pencil or may need a new one because my old one, well, I've had it for many, many years and the battery is kind of starting to not last very long and you can't replace it without an X-Acto knife. Lots of patience, and probably then you would just break it. Apple Pencil 3 will reportedly include report for Find My. Dude, that would be cool, which obviously means that you could find it using the Find My app, potentially with an audible alert. Dude, I don't know, Griffin. I don't feel like an audible alert is in our future for the pencil.
Yeah, that means they would have to put a tiny little speaker inside of it, and it's just it's so narrow. I don't know how it would fit.
Yeah,
but
I find that one dubious, but boy, I would love to have the speaker built in to my AirPods. I would, because I have the regular AirPods, the Gen 3, and I would also love it to have, and I think the one accessory that absolutely needs the Find My speaker built in is the Apple TV remote. I mean, it gets lost on its own. It's like you don't even do anything with it, and you go to look for it, and it's just gone. We spent 2 days at my house searching for it this week, and my wife found us. I still have no idea where it actually was, but or just Find My in general for the Apple remote. That would be a good step forward. But the speaker is kind of critical. Let's see here. Anything else? Okay. Well,
Did you even give the date of the thing?
The date of what?
The event.
Yeah, I said May 7th. I said it like 8 times.
I couldn't remember.
You know, you always accuse me of not paying attention, and that's often true. But this time it was you. I'm not letting you get away with it because I said it like 3 times. Yeah.
Did you mention the time of day? The horrible news about the time of day?
You know what? The time of day, I don't believe, is in the story, is it? Or it's not in the show notes.
It sure is.
It's in the show notes.
It's right there.
Oh, you guys are lying. You just added it. I don't believe you.
No.
What does it say?
It starts at 7 a.m. Pacific, which is not cool.
Dude, I'm so sick of this. Why do they do this? They're on...
punish West Coast people.
But what is the purpose in having it be at 7 a.m. Pacific time? I mean, the whole thing's pre-recorded. You're going to be... I mean, what audience are they trying to give access to the live replay that you couldn't do at 10 a.m., you know?
Well, Mark Gurman actually had a tweet where he said, Apple is clearly experimenting with these smaller launches to figure out what has the best impact for viewership and creating interest. So alongside the October event where they did it like in the evening. I think at like 5 p.m. Eastern. They're trying to figure out what gets them the biggest viewership because they've always been at, what is it, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Maybe that's not the best time to have these events.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
maybe
know.
they miss out on the evening news on the East Coast.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to place it strategically within shows that are coming. I have no idea. I just think 7 a.m. I mean, you lose a lot of people on the West Coast because people are getting ready for work or commuting even at 7 a.m. So when are we supposed to watch it? I guess later in the day. It just seems like a
Well,
weird time.
I will say as an East Coaster that I am enormously excited for this
Of course you are.
because usually on Apple event day, like what am I going to do at, the morning before an Apple event? Like what work is there to do before an Apple event happens? Like no news is going to break on that day. So I'm just twiddling my thumbs until 1 p.m. when the event starts. And, then I've got to write up the event. I've got to do the videos and all that. I usually don't stop work until like 9 or 10 p.m. This is going to be great. I'll wake up, have a nice slow morning, let my dogs out, have some breakfast, sit down at my computer, get settled in, and then boom, 10 a.m. Apple event starts.
You know what?
It'll just be a normal work day.
I think your selfish reason right there might be the reason that it got ruined for all of us. That's probably exactly why they're doing it. They're trying to figure out how to make it early enough where they could optimize their press coverage for the day, right? So they'll get everyone writing about it on that same day when it's still actually news and not the next day when people are like, oh, I kind of heard about that and now they're not interested anymore. So it's you. You're why they're doing it. That's probably exactly why.
Yeah. They're just trying to consolidate on. They finally recognize that the East Coast is the best coast, and that the Eastern Standard Time is the best time zone on the world.
I don't know about all that, but I do think your first explanation probably is it. So anyway, 7 a.m. Pacific time, dude. I don't know if I'll be getting up at 7 a.m. to watch this. I'll just be totally honest with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an admission.
I mean, it's not like it's going to sell out. It's not a Fujifilm X100 VI. It's not like they're Fujifilm. They actually have the supply chain capacity to make a product that people want, unlike Fujifilm, who can't even make enough to fulfill demand for the first 90 seconds of orders. So unlike Fujifilm, Apple will have plenty of these available, unlike Fujifilm, who can't get their act together. So I can wake up whenever and just order whenever I want, and I'm sure they'll have plenty of these things, in stock. Let's see here. Anything else?
The infomercial will be waiting for you.
What's that?
The infomercial will be waiting for you.
Yeah, that will
Just
actually be
wake up
something.
and hit play.
Yeah, that will be something to look forward to. And it's not like iPad's going to drive a huge amount of news volume. like people will, just listen to it whenever it comes out. It is at the very end of the. At the very end of the story. Oh, that's where it is. At the end. Talk about burying the lead. That lead is dead. Dead and buried. All right, let's see here. In addition, a redesigned Magic Keyboard for iPad has also been part of the leaks that we've seen. It will also come with a larger trackpad and an aluminum top. That makes it look more like a MacBook. And we might see that in early May, too. Did I miss anything, Griffin? Anything at all?
There's a weird rumor that the Apple Pencil 3 might work with Vision Pro.
Ooh.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, you'll have to let us know.
I'll
how
have to
that
buy
goes.
my first pencil to test that. And supposedly it's also going to have a new squeeze gesture. So
Oh,
you can squeeze and switch between, different drawing tools or something like that.
I love to squeeze. Let's see here. Love to give people a nice big squeeze. Let's see here. I'm trying to also bring something up that I was going to mention. But
While you're doing that, Lewis, do you want to break the sad news?
Yeah, please do.
The
Break
one
our
thing
hearts.
we're not getting at this
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
We had our hopes up there for a minute that the 12.9-inch iPad Air, which we're also excited about, would come with a mini LED display. But unfortunately, the person who, the analyst who predicted this last week has walked back his information. So let's see. Mini LED is what's used currently in the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. And the guy who had this rumor, Ross Young, CEO of Display Supply Chain Consultants, which is, wow, it's a long name. He said earlier this month that leftover mini LED panels from the Pro model would go into the 2024 iPad Air. for those of you who don't know, and I'm certainly among them, I can't tell ever. Every time somebody mentions one of these things, I'm like, which screen is that? What's it good for? I can never remember which is better. Anyway, mini LED screens use thousands of tiny LEDs to provide a backlight for the LCD that can illuminate very specific areas. The result is higher contrast, blacker blacks, improved brightness, and better power efficiency. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen in the 12.9-inch iPad Air. Wednesday, what's his name? Ross Young said on X, "We no longer believe the upcoming 12.9-inch iPad Air will get a mini LED display." He cited sources in Apple's supply chain for the original report and for the quick about face. Apple supposedly hasn't given up on the idea of a mini LED tablet. However, Young also said, quote, "We have heard that there may be a new 12.9-inch mini LED iPad introduced in Q4 24, which is even weirder than anything else here."
Yeah, that seems strange that they would update it again so soon.
Where does that fit into the lineup?
Yeah.
I was just doing, miniature amount of research for this. I was trying to compare the regular iPad with the iPad Air, and it looks like they have the same screen, I guess. And it's kind of shocking, the pricing on these things, right? I mean, it still hasn't sunk into me yet that a normal iPad costs like $450.
Yeah, you're right. They keep inching the prices up, and then they sell like the really, really old iPads for $250. I think is the normal price. I don't even know because it goes on sale all the time.
I think it's $329.
Oh, is it really? Wow.
I would think so.
And they've all consolidated on like the same 3 screen sizes so that they can all be compatible with the same Magic accessories and stuff.
And what is really the difference between an iPad and an iPad Air? It's the chip, right? I mean, it's the Air now has the same one as the Pro. So what's different in the Pro? I guess it's the screen. I don't know. To me, it's so bizarre that they have these 3 different models, and now none of them are really affordable. Like the cheap one is not cheap anymore.
Well, they put that one on sale quite often. In fact, I saw it as low as $180 several months ago. Yeah, which is crazy,
iPad
right?
10? No way.
No. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that was
the
that was the 9th generation. Yeah.
Okay.
So the 9th generation they put
That I
on
could
sale.
believe.
Which we literally called that out when we were talking about new iPads a while back, along with the new MacBook Air when they came out with the new generation MacBook Airs. The previous generation is now on sale at Walmart for $699, which used to be $999 for the M1 MacBook Air. It's like, dude, it's just, I mean, of course, Apple would never sell it for that price, but they use their third-party proxies to liquidate all this stuff, and they're still making them, and liquidating them to different audiences. It's a really interesting strategy that I kind of love and also hate. I'm taking us off topic here. Where were we?
No way.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe.
Can you believe that iPad Air starts at $599 with 64 gigabytes of storage.
I know.
A measly 64 gigabytes.
It's a slap in the face.
It's
by TC himself.
Maybe they'll bump that up. I haven't heard anything about that.
Maybe not, Lewis.
Maybe they'll bump it down.
Maybe you bumped your head. You think they're going to give you more free more free storage? I don't think so, Lewis. But I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But that's the gravy, man. TC likes his gravy, and that's how he gets it. I know. It drives me berserk. I hate how they nickel and dime you for storage. But the question is, anyone going to be thinking about maybe getting one of these new iPads?
I already have the iPad of the future, the space iPad, aka the face iPad, aka the Vision Pro. I have no need for an iPad.
Yeah, right. You have the iPad, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
iPad.
The iPad.
Yeah.
That's
There's
even
no
better.
way I'm buying one, man. I still have a 4th gen iPad that I use all the time for darts scoring. Can't update it or anything. Really old, still works. The battery's great. I can't believe it. How old is that thing? I mean, I got this for the wife 10 years ago or something. I mean, a long time ago. And I have an iPad Pro that I basically never use, and the battery's shot on. Every time I open it up, pick it up, it just starts heating up because it just instantly starts to update, 400 apps at once. It's almost worthless. The old one actually is better for my purposes.
As much as I don't want to buy a new one, I feel like I'm gonna have to. I need to get my hands on something, man. I mean, my iPad is from I think 2018. I have the 2018 iPad Pro, and
I feel like everybody in the world bought the 2018 iPad Pro. I know so many people, especially podcasters, who bought that exact iPad model, and they're all going to be buying a new iPad in a week.
I mean, they're so old, and it still works perfectly. And I feel like from a power perspective, it still does everything that I need it to do. It's got a great amount of space. It's perfect for travel, but I want to see what the feature set is on this new one, and I'm considering, splurging for it. But I can still sell my iPad Pro for like $400. I mean, the resale value on it is just crazy. Now that might change once they release these new ones. And I wouldn't really say that I need a new iPad because it still works, and for the use cases that I have for it, like I'm not an artist, although I did make some incredible images or sketches of Dr. Disrespect. I don't know if Griffin, you weren't here when I did those. I don't even know if Lewis, you were here when I did those, but I just, because when the Apple Pencil, or when I first got the Apple Pencil and the iPad Pro, I was like, I'm gonna just try this, and I actually surprised myself with my artistic capabilities. Like this sketch of Dr. Disrespect, it was so lifelike and realistic. Like the mustache just flowed like like the white waters of a wild river.
All right, show us.
See the muscle. I don't have it here. I don't have my iPad here in front of me. I don't even know if I made it in Procreate. I don't even know if I still have the sketch, but it was something that I was deeply proud of. I couldn't believe how good it was because I've never considered myself to be an illustrator, But it really made me second guess my skill set.
I can't even circle a word properly.
If you just really stop and try. So like I took a photo and I literally just stared at the photo and I just, like sketched it as I was looking at the photo and I was like, dude, this is good. Like this is actually really good. And you can see all the muscles rippling and stuff. Like it made you want to go, yeah.
And now you could just use, AI to just draw it for you.
Dude, I know. There's no reason to even be an artist anymore. You can literally draw anything. Although, like the AI engines that I've tried, like they really struggle to make lifelike recreations of a lot of famous people. Like I forget what I was doing. I was trying to get it to create images of Walt Disney for me. Walt Disney, there's a zillion images of him online, and it couldn't do it. It looked like Walt Disney's stunt double. No matter what no matter what prompt I gave it, it couldn't really create like a lifelike recreation. Now, I'm sure that will change in the next year or two. You'll literally be able to create anyone doing anything, although I don't know what the legal ramifications are of that. And maybe that's a limitation that they currently have. They don't want you doing that, so they kind of make it like a derivative of like the image of a person. Like once you could do that, dude, game over. Like it's going to be hard to be an artist because the AI engines that exist, I mean, you can literally prompt them into any style of artist and they can create artwork with any kind of style that you tell it to. Like, I don't know the names of different famous artists, but I saw someone make different images in the style of, and they would give it a prompt that included an artist's name, and it was like, boom, within 5 seconds, you had a full piece of artwork in the style of whatever artist that you loved, and it could be any situation, any person, or anything. It's really amazing. And dude, we're still like the early phases of this kind of stuff. Let's see here. I'm completely lost. I have no idea where we're supposed to go from here.
Wow.
I know.
Well,
I don't even know where we are.
Let's keep talking about AI stuff.
Wow.
With this next story.
What a segue.
So the tangent,
it
wasn't a tangent, it was an extended segue.
Wait. Before we move on, we're back in business, boys. I just wanted to let this be known. If you didn't know, now you know. New or returning subscribers. Now, it says select returning subscribers here, but this worked for me. 2 months, Apple TV Plus, totally free. The deal's back, baby. So if you have been cheapskating and you have not wanted to pay for the Apple TV Plus like I haven't, here's your chance. I'll include a link to this in the show notes. I'll drop it right here in the show notes and in the chat. If you want to try it out, my friends, and get yourself free Apple TV Plus for 2 more months. I don't know, man. I don't have enough time, and they still don't have enough content that I would want to make me pay for it. So, and they keep putting these deals out there, man. I'll have to take like a month off, 2 months off, and then I get another deal, and they almost always work. So I figured, why pay for it, Lewis, you know? Or maybe you can make me your son on your Apple plan or something. We'll work something out.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Of course, then I have access to your credit card and all your photos and everything, but, who cares? Not a big deal. And then I'll make someone else my son, and then they can make someone else their son, and then we'll have I think we just figured out the hack, dude. You have a son, I have a son, my son has a son, and we'll just keep adding children, and we'll get the entire CultCast audience onto your plan.
It's like chain migration only for Apple TV Plus free subscription.
Somehow I think they probably already figured that out, so. All right.
I bet Tim would put a stop to that.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long. And by stop,
and
he would
probably
show
pull
up to
the
your
plug on
house.
me right about the time that the second season of Severance comes out.
Yeah.
That would break my heart.
Oh, dude, that actually is the one show that I would pick up and pay to watch.
They
but
just finished shooting season 2.
I heard that, but dude, post-production is going to be a year long.
They say it'll be out by the end of the year.
Okay, so what is that? 8 months from now?
7 months.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, sort of.
I can't wait.
Yeah, me either. That was a really good show. Shall we move on?
Now that you've blown up the segue.
I'm lost again. No, the segue's still here.
Let's talk about AI for 10
now
more minutes.
Let's talk about AI. Take it away, Griffin.
Okay. iOS 18 AI features could run entirely on device. Apple's large language model that will power iOS 18's AI features could run entirely locally. This would prioritize user privacy and offer faster response times. Android phones with generative AI features offload all the processing and heavy lifting to the cloud. This makes them powerful and ensures the phone's AI processing capabilities do not limit them. That's a very, it's a silver lining in a nuclear cloud, I guess. The catch is the privacy risk involved, as your data might be shared and uploaded to the cloud. Yeah, you don't say. Plus, the high response times can lead to a poor user experience. Apple aims to bypass these problems with on-device processing, reports Bloomberg's Mark Gurman in his Power On newsletter. This means the phone will process the AI commands locally instead of offloading them to the cloud. This is a more privacy-friendly approach, although Apple might have to limit its AI features based on the chip's AI processing capabilities, and the fact that it's running on a power-limited battery device. A previous report claims the iPhone 16 will ship with a more powerful neural engine to power some of these features. That could mean that some of the demanding AI features might not come to existing iPhones. Gurman says Apple will adopt a different marketing strategy for iOS 18's AI features. Instead of highlighting the generative AI tools, the company will show how the features will benefit users in daily use. This is, I think, perfectly in line with Apple's, general philosophy towards this whole thing. And, I feel like a lot of people make like the dichotomy that, either it runs on the cloud or everything runs on the device and it sucks. And I feel like that's kind of the AI apologists' point of view on that. Whereas I think that, really, the neural engine is mighty powerful. It's pretty big. Like the especially because these are going to be like the latest generation in Apple Silicon. They'll probably be using the enhanced 3-nanometer process. I think that there's probably a lot that they'll be able to do, even though it's only on device. And we'll see. A lot of these features, I imagine, will not be announced in June. If it's features that'll only run on the latest hardware, they're going to wait until the September keynote to announce them. But I'm looking forward to it as someone interested in buying an iPhone 16 this year. I think it'll be pretty cool. And what do you think?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this, and I was like, dude, this is gonna suck so bad. I mean, you need like a whole GPU farm to do the processing that is needed for AI compute because it's so processor intensive. But then I thought, before when you thought about computers, it was like a whole room full of mainframes, right? And then eventually that whole room shrunk down into one huge machine. And then that huge machine shrunk down into one giant computer. And then that big machine or that big computer shrunk down into one little phone. And I feel like that may actually be where we're headed. Like this huge, enormous amount of compute that we need to do AI stuff is currently where we're at. And I think there will always be a need for those compute centers. But as compute becomes more and more powerful, the capabilities of these huge GPU farms are going to be migrated into smaller and smaller compute farms and then individual machines and that type of thing. And so maybe there is some stuff that you can do via the neural engine that will be appropriate for a local machine to do, like on your phone or something. And then I read that they were going to farm out some of the more intensive stuff to like Google. And I think this is what Apple is going to have to do, because here's why. Like Microsoft, they have Azure. Google has their own like data farms, and they have huge computing resources with places that do compute and that type of thing. And so does Amazon. Apple doesn't. Apple leases that stuff from Amazon and from Microsoft and from who knows who else. So this stuff costs them money. And I don't think they want to spin up a whole new cost center to pay for all your large language model requests. They're going to try and do it on device. And plus, the privacy is also a big thing. And so Apple wants to have it be private and also not give themselves a whole new cost center. So will it be as good as another LLM that's powered by, a massive football field of NVIDIA GPUs? No, definitely not. But it might be worth it in some instances and more convenient and more private. I'm just a little worried when I hear that they're doing it on device. We're in for another Siri experience. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, Apple AI asterisk, and you'll use it, and half the time it doesn't give you what you want.
Here's the thing about that, and I think this is a point that a lot of people miss. First of all, Siri actually runs on Apple's data farms in a server, on a cloud server. So that's actually working against you there. But like the other part of this story is that, like, you say, oh, you want to run the software that runs on this gigantic data center on a single cell phone? That's never going to work. But the thing is, like, that giant data center has to field everybody's requests simultaneously. So they're incentivized, to run efficiently and fast in the data center as well. It's not like a data center's unlimited resources. It has to, that data center has to field everybody's requests. And if, you're Apple with 1 billion users, if you run it in a data center, well, that you're going to overload the data center too. Like running it on device, not only is it like the latency, the network latency is a huge factor, but the phone is only doing what you ask it to as soon as you ask it to. Like a data center has to field everybody's requests, so it's also processing power limited.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think it's as limited as the neural engine on your iPhone. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but when you think about it, as you have a neural engine as part of like the system on a chip, or you have a huge cloud of NVIDIA 4090s, which are these absolute monsters. I don't know if this is true, but my assumption would be that even the amount of compute that's taking place in the GPU farm is, or how do I phrase this? I think that the GPUs in the GPU farm are probably not being as stressed and are able to deliver better results than the neural engine can, even though they're getting a lot of requests, if only because they have all these like load balancing servers that are sending traffic to the areas that have the capability to process those requests. And then once they get there, they're obviously able to process them much faster. I don't know if this is too in the weeds, but we'll see how it works. I mean, we kind of presumed that Apple was going to try and have some of this stuff run on device. I'm excited to see what they actually enable us to do, and if these include features that we will actually want to do, and this isn't just Apple trying to get into the AI namespace and use it as marketing jargon, like A12 Bionic, where it's like, oh my gosh, it's Bionic. It's like, no, we just made that word up so that you would think that it had something special. It's like I hope this actually delivers something, which is what Apple normally does. They normally deliver actual usable features. But I'm really curious. We've been talking about this for so long. Like, how are they going to implement any kind of AI features on the iPhone, and what are those AI features going to do for us? I just hope we don't end up with another digital heartbeat. You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, now your buddy can send you his heartbeat on your Apple Watch. Like, isn't that cool? It's like, oh yeah, yeah, so cool. That feature made it 2 generations? Yeah.
Can you imagine they love their graphics, right? They're big screen. With the new neural engine in the iPhone 16, Siri is 30% more likely to accurately predict what your last name is after you type in your first name.
Or instead of when I'm trying to say he has, it doesn't spell Haas avocado, HASS. Dude, that happens to me all the time, even still.
Yeah. The new iPhone is built for AI. It's 3 times less likely to stick a comma after every word in a sentence you dictate.
Or it'll do that still the exact same way, but faster because it's on device.
There you go.
It'll just keep changing back and forth like 10 times instead of just 3 and land on the wrong. I always feel like I'm playing like roulette, right? Like which one's it going to stop on, and will I be able to send it at just the right moment before it switches it to the wrong one?
Yeah,
I'm constantly amazed. I am constantly amazed at how bad it is, and how, I mean, honestly, what comes after my first name? What could it be? What word could possibly come after my first name?
All right, let's take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Doesn't it drive you crazy? I mean, this is a $1,200 computer that you've got in your pocket, and it doesn't know what your last name is, even though you've specifically told it what your last name is.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that does not bode well.
It's
you just
comically
need to get an
bad.
easier last name like Jones.
That's the problem. Wallace is too hard.
I'm curious. Do you guys? I mean, first off, half the time it spells my name wrong. Secondly, every time that I am filling out a form or adding my name in a thing, to a signature or whatever, Lewis space Shift key W. What could be next? No idea.
Neither does Siri.
Walker? So you guys don't have this problem?
No, not at all.
I don't
Never-
spell
it
my
never
name very
happens.
often, so I wouldn't say that's my specific problem. But to my earlier point, like what I get annoyed with is it should know. Maybe it's the same problem. It should know what's coming next.
Yeah, it should.
Like when I use Microsoft products, they use their AI engine to do like phrase predictions. So you'll be typing and it will give me like a whole phrase, and it's like, dude, it does that all the time, and it's right. It knows 3 or 4 or 5 words that I'm going to use next, and I just hit tab and boom, it fills all those in, and it never gives me weird words. It doesn't use incorrect words within the context of the phrase that it's suggesting. Like it may give me a suggestion that I don't need, but the words within that suggestion are 100% right all the time. So my only problem is, well, this suggestion that you gave me isn't useful, but it learns as you type how you type and what kinds of words you're going to use, and it will start to suggest things that you actually will find useful. And so I use that feature all the time. It just illustrates how far Apple is, how far behind Apple is with this kind of stuff. Because their stuff
Gmail does that too.
Gmail does that too. And Apple cannot do it accurately. They don't do it often, and when they do, for me, it's inaccurate, and it just makes my experience worse. Because there's nothing more infuriating than having to, when you dictate something, and then you have to go in and change everything manually. Because,
especially on iOS. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's even hard to select the words now. It's like doesn't actively fight you trying to change incorrect things. What about your? Oh, I'm curious, Griffin's. They've nailed your last name, which is really way to piece that together, Siri. What about with your, for instance, your street address? I mean, let's say you live on Maple Drive. If you type in capital MAPLE, what's the very next thing Siri suggests?
Well, the name of the
Syrup.
street I live in isn't. I hope I'm not revealing too much here. The name of the street I live in isn't like a regular English word. I think it's like some proper name that the street has been named after, so it never gets it.
So even though you've put into the device your home address, it can't possibly come up with that name, right?
No.
Yeah, I mean, case closed, Your Honor. Worthless.
Well, Lewis, how do we turn this around and tell us about the most exciting feature?
Let's talk about a feature that actually is useful, Lewis. It'll get your blood pressure down.
Let's turn that frown.
Your eye will stop twitching. Well, actually, hold on one second.
What?
Let me see. Where are we in the show notes? Why don't I have my show notes?
God.
We're just totally. I blame Lewis
Pause.
for this riffing that's going on. I think I accidentally. Okay, just go ahead. This is out of control. I relinquish any semblance of order.
Yeah, here's what's going to set the world on fire. If you haven't bought Apple stock, you should do it right now because there's a calculator app that's probably coming to the iPad. And you believe it, in iPad
What
OS
year is it?
18.
2024. What a time to be alive.
Only
Yeah, oh
enabled
my
by
God.
the M3 chip.
In a long overdue move, Apple reportedly will integrate a calculator app into the iPad operating system. The change, which is somehow both minor and monumental, supposedly will come in iPad OS 18. According to Apple software chief Craig Federighi, the company just hasn't been inspired to make one due to the iPad's giant screen, but apparently something's changed down in Cupertino. This is coming from Mac Rumors. They wrote, iPad OS 18 will include a built-in calculator app for all iPad models that are compatible with the software update, citing only, quote, a source familiar with the matter. Now, the real shocking part about this is not that the iPad is coming, calculator app is coming to the iPad, but it's coming to all versions of it. Like, even if you don't have to buy the Pro one to get the calculator app.
Wow.
Isn't that
Generous.
I mean, yeah, I bet you Tim Cook fought hard to get that restricted to the Pro model.
I think I remember reading elsewhere that it was the notes and people from the notes and reminders team have been pulled off their work to redo the calculator app. Some people are speculating that maybe it'll be sort of like, it'll be a calculator with note functions or maybe like equations or writing capability, something like that. There's like this one Mac app that I can't remember the name of it, but I keep seeing people rave about it once in a while. It's like a combination between a calculator and a note-taking app. So you can just like type in stuff in like natural language. It'll come out with calculations. You can make a list and then ask for the sum or the multiple of it, and it'll spit that out for you. So maybe Apple's trying to take that on, or maybe they're finally trying to take on the elusive Texas Instruments graphing calculator market with this new iPad app.
Yeah, that's what I started thinking about. Like, I remember those things kids used to run around with. The real smart kids. I never had one.
The
I actually have one
TI-83?
just here since
Look at
I was doing my taxes, so I've got it. But
Using a TI-83 to do your taxes? You use a
This is
calculator to do your taxes?
this is the TI-84
use?
Plus C Silver Edition.
Wow, that's probably expensive. That's a costly model. I mean, what do I use? A computer, an accountant. I mean, there are things that you use besides a calculator.
Yeah, but for adding up numbers, stuff like that by hand, it's faster than clicking around in the calculator app on the Mac.
Yeah, I mean, I use I use CalcBot on my iPhone, which is probably one of my most used apps, because not only does it do calculator functions, but it also does conversions. So it has like this cool conversion capability built in where you can slide over. Well, I'm not going to explain the mechanism. That won't make sense. But if you dial in a number, you can looking for the right word. You can change that number into other calculations. So you can say like, this is miles and I want to know feet or whatever. And so it will do all these different conversions, which is super handy. I should bill them for this plug right now. They're not even paying us to say this. I'm going to just send them a bill and see what they'll say.
Wow,
But
calculator chat. I did not know we were going to get into calculator.
oh,
chat.
dude, I use the calculator all the time. It's one of my most used apps. I mean, that and the camera app, like I use those are tools, man. Like those are things I use all the time. But I guess you could also just carry around a old-fashioned TI-84 Plus. That also works. I mean, why spend $1 on a calculator app when you can spend $100 on a graphing calculator?
Why spend $100 when you can spend $450 on an iPad with a calculator?
That's true. Well, at least you could watch Dr. Disrespect videos on the iPad. Maybe you can do that on the calculator. I don't know. Like when I used to use those calculators, you could install games and stuff on them. So like your teacher would think that you're doing calculus, but you're actually like playing Pong or something. They had all sorts of stuff that you could do on those calculators. Okay, look, Griffin, let's talk a little bit more about CultClub. I know I already did the whole plug, but why don't you at least talk about what we're going to be doing this week, even though you're technically not going to be on. And we'll give people a little bit more incentive on why to support us for CultCast Off Topic.
Irfan, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, please.
How much?
I'm an open book.
How much does it cost when you and your family go to a local movie theater to just watch a movie? Like, what does it cost to watch a movie in Washington?
You mean just like the single ticket price?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh goodness, I don't even know. I'm gonna say probably $15.
$15 for a movie ticket?
That's 2D. That's not getting you into IMAX or 3D.
Okay.
If you want three
So
dimensions,
you're spending $15, and you get like an hour and a half to 2 hours of entertainment.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
what if I
maybe.
tell you?
Most movies
What if
suck
I
these
tell you
days.
that
Yeah.
there's a way you can get, an hour or an hour and a half of entertainment for free every week with a gigantic backlog of episodes too?
Well, now I'm
You know,
intrigued.
Well, listeners, that is the very podcast that you're listening to. You've been getting so much free entertainment from the three of us for so long.
Entertainment. We use that word loosely, but some of you do get it.
It's an incredible value, and if you want to show your love and support for our show and the content we make for you, you can throw us a little pocket change, a little chump change.
Yeah.
It's less than the cost of a movie.
Yeah.
Per month. It's only $5. Or if you live in a spot where a movie ticket is $20, well, you can choose to support us in a greater amount as well. Commensurate with how much entertainment costs in your region, and you can do that at cultof9to5macrumors.com. It's really easy URL to type in. And remember, this week on Off Topic, Erfan and Lewis are going to be talking about the Fallout TV series. Erfan is a fan of the game, I am told, and he's really loving the show. Lewis has never played the game, but he's enjoying the show so far. He's only halfway through the season. I have not played the game or watched the show, so I have nothing to contribute.
So you've been uninvited
on this episode.
You've been unforked from the show.
I'm recusing myself from the discussion.
Now hold on, you put words in my mouth. I didn't say I loved it. I'm holding that opinion in until we do the show. I actually don't think I am as in love as Lewis is. Let's just put it that way. Because Lewis had very strong feelings. And look, we'll save it for the show. But it's a good show, but it's got some issues, and I finished it, so it will be non-spoiler, by the way, too. Like, it will be spoiler-free. So if you all want to listen to it, and I hate doing spoilers because I want everyone to be able to listen to it, yeah.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it, because I came into it completely blind.
Yeah, that is funny that you had never even played any of the games, because that's obviously a big reason why people watch the show, is because they had actually played the game and loved that world, which is funny because you watched The Last of Us, Lewis, and you not played that game either.
Right.
So you're all about they're luring you in. Like, all these great video game franchises are coming out with content. I mean, they're making a Borderlands movie, which is another huge game franchise. I mean, there's so many game franchises that are just so ripe for a movie or a series or something. But it's hard, man, because there's a lot of lore and there's a lot of fans that are reverent of the material, and you got to come in and satisfy all these people, which is not easy to do, as we saw with the new Amazon Lord of the Rings show.
It's almost like trying to make a movie based on a comic book character.
Yeah, which is becoming increasingly difficult these days, eh? Oh, man. Hold on a sec. Okay, so thanks for that plug. I also want to say thank you to Shahak Sarfati for the 1790 shekels. I don't even know what that translates to in US dollars. I could probably run that through the calculator app, but
Put it in the CalcBot.
I don't think CalcBot does shekels. Should we do it live here on the show? All right, let me pull it up.
I can't possibly imagine any more entertaining content.
Especially
Return of calculator.
Okay, well,
chat.
it is actually entertaining, because here's the thing. It's 1790 shekels, right? What does that equal in US dollars? Don't you want to know? Aren't you curious about that? Did I not just dangle a huge question mark?
I didn't even
in
know
front of me?
shekels were still in use.
Yeah, dude, Israeli shekels. That's what they use.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so I'll actually do a live demo here on the show. So you can see I've typed it into my calculator here, right?
Here we go.
And if you just put your finger, there's a little UI element here that indicates that you can interact with it. And you just slide it over, and now it brings up all these different conversions, and you can convert it however you want. So I'm on the currency panel. You probably can't see it. So $1. Oh no, that's not. I don't think they have shekels here, man. I don't think so. They've only
Oh,
got
geez.
like the really, really, really major main, currencies. So, never mind.
We'll never know.
There's absolutely no way we could ever find out. If only there was a way. Quick, Griffin, get out your TI 84 Plus and see if we could. Okay, well, thank you to Shahak, and we always appreciate you forking it over. So thank you for that. I also was going to give another just quick plug. Level Remix. Oh, everyone's dropping it in the chat. Okay, never mind. It's $4.71.
Okay.
There you go.
I've launched PCalc by developer James Thompson.
Okay.
I'm going to convert it. It apparently has currency conversions.
Dude, like 10 people have already dropped in the chat, dude. I just said the number.
Oh.
It's
Well,
471.
I wasn't listening.
Okay. Oh, shocker. See? Not just me.
It's contagious.
Before we
I was
move
so
on,
enraptured by these calculators.
I know, man, and the question, it had the question posed had to be answered. We couldn't just leave it hanging there. People wanted to know. I also wanted to just give a quick plug to CultCloth. It's been forever since I've talked about it. I know we already talked about like 18 promotional things here, so I'll keep it short. And let me just say, the absolute best way to keep your high-end tech, glasses, camera equipment sparkling clean, there's still nothing better than CultCloth. CultCloth.co. Use code CultCast at checkout, and for orders $20 plus, you'll get a free carry cloth with your order. These surprise and delight me every single day. There's just nothing better. Absolutely nothing cleans better than CultCloth. Okay, let's move on. Where are we? Let's talk about iPhone 16, shall we? Another wonderful device that you'll probably want to keep clean, and there's a great way to do that, CultCloth.co. But take it away, Griffin.
Why iPhone 16 might dump physical buttons for capacitive ones. The upcoming iPhone 16 series will have no traditional buttons at all, according to information supposedly leaking out of the company that will supply the capacitive buttons that will supposedly replace them. That feels like a rather poor way to start off your relationship with Apple, but, I don't work at Apple. I'm not the judge. If true, the change would make the iOS devices more durable and waterproof. Economic Daily reports that ASC Investment Holdings will make capacitive button modules for the iPhone 16. These reportedly will go on the sides of the handset, so there will be no physical buttons at all. Capacitive buttons register the user's touch but don't move. A previous unconfirmed report indicated that Apple would also add 2 taptic engines to the iPhone to make it vibrate so that it really feels like, when you press that raised bump on the side of the phone that you're really clicking a button. Capacitive buttons in the iPhone 16 would help make the product last even longer and improve water resistance. However, Sonny Dixon posted on X, formerly Twitter, an image of some iPhone 16 cases that have a physical cutout for the new capture button, but don't have a cutout for the power button. If that leak is accurate, it implies that only the new capture button will be capacitive, and the existing power button, volume buttons, and action button will remain as ordinary clicky buttons. Conflicting leaks aren't unusual with the devices being this far out from release, but it's all up for grabs. Are they all going to be capacitive? Are none of them going to be capacitive? Is it only just going to be the one button? Who knows? Thrilling stuff.
Thrilling stuff. Yeah, man, I hope that they keep the regular mechanical buttons. If they want to add some capacitive on there, that's fine. Totally okay with that. I have never really seen an implementation of capacitive buttons that I love. I like to have mechanical buttons and switches and that type of thing. There's just nothing like it.
MacBook Pro, Airphone?
What's that?
How do you like the trackpad on your MacBook Pro? That's capacitive.
Yeah, that's true, and it's great. It's the best trackpad that exists. In fact, I feel like it's the only good one that exists, to be honest with you. So many laptops try to emulate it, but they just don't get it right. The MacBook Pro or the MacBook trackpads are perfect. But even still, that being said, it's like just because the trackpad is good, capacitive, I feel like that doesn't mean that all things should be capacitive, right? Like, would we want them to replace all the keys with capacitive keys? Like, no way. I mean, they could totally do that, and then they would never have to worry about spills or, dirt getting in there and messing with the keys, which is not a problem anymore, obviously, since they moved away from Butterfly. But I think there are certain use cases where capacitive makes sense, and I think for the volume buttons and the switch for like this, or the mute switch is what I'm trying to say, and for the new action button, I just I don't know. I don't think so. think I like my regular buttons. You know what I'm saying? Dude, how's that? It's a pretty good impression, I gotta say.
You're a
Okay.
button freak.
Yeah, I love buttons, man. All right, well, cool. You're speechless, Liz. You can't even come up with anything.
Well, I keep wondering about this capture button. I hope that they come up with a way to make it super handy, like way better than just turning on your camera. I hope it can do multiple things.
Yeah,
I've heard people speculate that maybe it'll sort of imitate like the 2-action shutter button of like a traditional camera, where like you sort of half push it to focus and then you click it all the way to take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that would play to the benefits of a capacitive button, because it would be much more expensive to have like a 2-action physical button like that, and I would have the haptic feedback. I'm kind of disappointed. Although I had the iPhone 7 Plus for way too long. I hated that phone. That was a mistake. But it had the capacitive home button, and I thought that was excellent. That was honestly the one and only redeeming quality of that phone. So I'd be kind of disappointed if they didn't go for the capacitive buttons. You know, I think it would be fun. It would be risky, and I would like to try it out.
Yeah, that is one thing that it seems like Apple's hardware is always, pleasing. I mean, stuff like that. They do tend to make advances like that you go, oh wow, that works just as good as the other thing and even better. So,
you know what people are gonna love though, Griffin?
What's that?
This beautiful Apple Watch Series 10 concept. Whew, man, actually, we need a baby. Look at that beauty right here. So I'm sorry for all of you listening. You don't get to see this, but
I'll make it the chapter artwork.
Yeah, there you go. And we'll also have links to all this stuff in the show notes, obviously. But I was also going to mention, I should probably mention this more often. If you are listening, you can always go to watch.thecultcast.com, and there's a playlist of all of our episodes right there on YouTube. So you can always go back and watch them if you want to. And that Griffin there, he's doing a great job. Great job with the bookmarks and stuff. So if you go in there, you can actually go in there and see where in the episode you want to just go right to, which is never something we ever did. But now that Griffin's doing it, it's like, whew, look at that. The technology exists. Upgrade. So here you go.
Podcast.
This was an Apple Watch Series X concept that gives you a little peek into the future of what the Series X looks like. And, it looks like a much larger but nicer version of the current Apple Watch. The regular Apple Watches. And, sorry. A picture of Sam Cole there. It startled me. Make his face so big in the thumbnail. My goodness, man. Back it off a little bit. Sheesh. I got nothing to say about this watch. The watch to get is the Ultra. It's the most manly, masculine watch they sell. I see you grimacing over there, Griffin. It's the truth. We all know it. It looks great on your wrist. It looks like minimalistic and utilitarian. This looks like a huge piece of jewelry. Like it looks like something that Steven Tyler from Aerosmith might want to wear. But for the rest of us who don't wear our shirts unbuttoned, 5 or 6 buttons from the top, and don't wear scarves around our necks and microphones. I mean, look, dude, that's fine. If you can get away with that look, I can't. I can't get away with that look. So it's weird. My wrists are way too dainty to have something like that, decorating my wrists. I need something that looks a little bit more mean and muscular. But make it the chapter art and people can see what it looks like. Yeah.
The regular Apple Watch hasn't ever really, it's gotten like slightly rounder in the Series 4, and like the display got slightly bigger. They've never made it thinner. It's the only Apple device that's been sold for like 10 years continuously that hasn't been made thinner in any meaningful way. And I feel like it's the prime candidate because it is, kind of bulky. It sticks out pretty significantly from your wrist. Like, if you wear a button-down shirts with like, pretty tight sleeves around the wrist, you can't pull it over the watch if you've got a bigger watch, especially. So I'm hoping it gets a little thinner and, slimmer in that way.
That's funny because that's the same problem that I have with the Apple Watch Ultra, and that's actually kind of what I like about it. Is like when you put your shirt sleeve down, like the watch still sticks out.
That's what you like about it? It's
Yeah,
hard
I love
to put
it.
your shirt on?
Well, it's not hard to put your shirt on, but it doesn't. It's not easy to cover it up with your shirt. Like it sticks out because I don't want to constantly be like playing peekaboo, peekaboo. What time is it? I don't know. It's like I want my watches to be out, man. Especially if I'm like working out or something. I don't want to have to constantly be like going to look to see what time it is. I just want to look down and there it is. Which is one of the reasons why I hated the Apple Watches that didn't have the always on display, which I think was pre Series 5. How insane is it that I even know that? No one should know these things. And I don't even feel like I remember very many things like other people who have Rain Man levels of memory about what happened on every single model and when, it's like I feel like I can't even remember that stuff. But you would have to tap the screen to awaken it, and it would take like a full second for it to come on. That drove me nuts. If they would have kept that, if they wouldn't have added always on display to the Apple Watch, I'm not sure I would have continued wearing one because that bugged me so much. But the Apple Watch Ultra now, obviously, like the screen is always on and it's bright. Like it's just always bright. And then when you tap it, it's like, a spotlight shining up in your eyeballs. You got to be careful looking directly at it. You'll see like those little phantom spots for days afterwards, especially when you're outside. That thing gets so bright. And I don't even have the Series 2. The Series 2 is bonkers. Like 2,000 nits? 2,000 nits of light coming off an OLED? I mean, that is so crazy. I remember when I got my first outdoor monitor, like for YouTube production and stuff, and it was, I think, 1,000 nits, and I was like, wow, you can see this thing outdoors. This is amazing. And now we're at 2,000 nits outdoors. And for OLED, I mean, that previous monitor I had was just a regular LED or LCD with a backlight. And they're able to get very bright now. I don't even know what a regular television that has a backlight can do. It was like 25,000 nits. You could probably you take your glasses off and you probably have like tan lines over your face because those things get so bright. It's unbelievable.
It's funny just how opposite our philosophies with the Apple Watch are, because I wear a lot of button-down shirts, and I like the fact that it covers up my watch because then I don't need to use the always-on screen, and then my battery lasts longer. Like the action of holding my wrist up.
One of the main features of the watch is
the
being able
action
to
of holding up my wrist and pulling down the sleeve, that indicates to the watch that I'm looking at my wrist, and then it turns the display on, and then I don't have to, it's not wasting its battery by shining directly into my shirt sleeve all the day for like the 9 months out of the year in Ohio when it's too cold to wear short sleeves.
That's interesting. I wonder how often my shirt sleeve activates. I haven't noticed that ever happens. But the battery life on the Ultra is so good that it doesn't matter. Like I end up charging mine almost every day anyway because I don't want to be caught not being able to use my Apple Watch if I'm going to go do something. But there's virtually nothing I feel like you could do to exhaust the battery life within a day and a half. It just lasts forever. And I don't even have the new one, as I have already said multiple times. Where are we even going? I think we're done. That's it. Should I just start the music? I feel like I've been going off on some weird tangent, and we're not even talking about anything that's interesting to anybody. We should probably just start the music. Does anyone have any famous or final last words?
I think that would be a fun experiment, trying to kill an Apple Watch Ultra battery in a single day.
Huh.
If you just
tapping the
ran
screen.
a constant exercise, you said I'm on an outdoor walk all day. I mean, that's the thing that I find it burns it up more than anything is just doing an exercise and monitoring that.
That is true. Now, when you say a day, do you mean like a 24-hour period or like a regular day, like 14 or 15 hours?
I guess I would say try to kill it in a day, and then whatever the results would be, I would retroactively say that was the parameter of the test.
Yeah, well, we'll work this out offline. Level Remix from the chat. Hopefully there is a prediction game next episode.
Hey.
Yes, there will be.
Yes, there will be. So we'll do
Actually,
that next episode.
If you're in the Cult Club, leave some predictions, and I might add them into the prediction game.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah, and if you're in the Cult Club, come hang out. It's been awful sleepy in there, and part of that has been me because I've been super busy. I haven't been as active as I was before. But I don't know. Maybe we could do some like live hangout events or something. Let's do something. Let's get this thing going. I had a great idea. I got to go here in a minute, but I had an absolutely killer idea. I was like, we talked about, this is probably not going to work. No one's going to want to do this, but I thought it was a cool idea. We did the Disney episode or the theme parks episode, CultCast off topic. And we were just like joking around. We're like, how cool would it be? Or I don't even know if we talked about this in the episode, but maybe it was offline. I was like, dude, if we could raise enough money to take Lewis to Disneyland and record his reactions on all the rides, that would be one of the best videos I've ever produced. Now, that would be an expensive trip. I'm not saying we're going to do this. I just worst idea. I was like, you know what we could do is we could do a come to Disneyland with the CultCast event where people chip in, and we have an event where anyone who wants to come can come with us, and we can all just go there together. But like the event would cost money, right? So you'd have to pay like some fee to like come join us there, which would fund our trip to, you know, all go there together. We'd have to fly. I'd have to fly in, obviously. Griffin would have to fly in. I'm not saying we're going to do it. Yeah, if you want to end up, you know, getting your genitals cut off by some maniac, you could try that.
Wow, that was a
hey, look, man.
Twist.
There's a lot of freaks out there. Haven't you ever seen What About Mary? With the hitchhiker? No? No one knows? All right.
What About Mary?
Yeah. Oh,
Do I
dude.
want to see it based on that?
Dude, What About Mary is one of the
Sounds like
best.
no.
It's one of the best comedies ever made. But I was just
There's
thinking.
something about Mary?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. There's something about Mary.
Oh, no, that
I
I've
botched
seen.
it up. Okay. There's something about Mary. Anyway, for some reason, there's just something about, because it's been like probably like 75 years since Lewis has been to a theme park. There's something about taking Lewis to a theme park and strapping him into those rides and then filming him as he's going around on the different theme park experiences and just getting his opinions that really tickles me. I just think that would be a lot of fun.
You might want to wear a screen protector or some sort of. I mean,
Puke guard.
yeah. I wonder. I wonder how my stomach would handle it at this point. I used to be able to ride those things, no problem. I loved them, but you know, a little older now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like that's the thing that I wasn't expecting. We're doing the off topic now, but is when you're young, you can go on those rides and you're just cool. But as you get older, like for some reason, your body just starts to not tolerate those rides very well. Like I went on the new Harry Potter, like the ride of Gryffindor or something ride at Universal. And they basically put you on this big giant metal arm, like the ones that assemble cars, except there is a place for people to sit attached to it. And it's like, woo, woo, like twirling you all around. And then it will plop you down in front of a big video screen. And there will be all this like fast paced action of people flying around the world of Harry Potter. I made it about 15 seconds into that ride. And I was like, if I don't close my eyes, I'm going to projectile vomit like Exorcist style. And I don't know where it's going to go because you're like in a huge warehouse being carried around by this big mechanical arm on a track, but someone's getting it, you know? So I had to close my eyes for the entirety of that ride. And I tried reopening them for like several seconds throughout the ride. And I was like, nope, that is it. This ride is not built for me. And I had that experience on a couple of other rides, and my body was just like, nope, you can't do this anymore. Anyway.
I'm surprised that closing your eyes helped.
Oh, yeah. It helped big time. Like, the motion and stuff, still a little queasy, but it was all like the video moving around, fast-paced action like that. My body just cannot do those rides anymore. But with that said, we got to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week, but we're going to have more CultCast off topic to come, so stay tuned for that. And of course, if you want to come hang out with us on Twitter, well, don't bother. Just go to support.thecultcast.com instead. And we're hanging out in the Cult Club. That's where we're hanging out. That's why I never tweet anymore. So if you want to get in on that action, support.thecultcast.com, support.thecultcast.com. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. It's always fun as usual. And we will see you guys next time. Look at that on the fly. That on the fly change there. I can't believe I pulled that off. You know? I feel like that was an old dog, new tricks moment. You know? Just come up with something on the fly like that. Yeah. I didn't hear a word you just said. What was that? Yeah, it's true. And even if I did, there would be no one there to converse with you. So, torque to. Oh, this is a good one. This is what we should do. Let's get a tour of the shelves behind earphones sometimes. Get a tour of those shelves behind earphone. Get the moderator in here. Get the moderator here with the steel-toed boots. Stick that size 12 right in Torque to Wall's keister. All right, everyone. We're signing off. Hope you have a good weekend.